there's also this question, isn't there, that I find fascinating, that, this question of accepting what is. And if we accept what is, whatever is, then there's no better than, is there? I mean, where is the better than? There is no better than. It's all perfect as it is. Okay, perfect may be the wrong word, but if we can accept everything as it is, even if we might judge it, or society judges it as bad, like...
But there's an inherent philosophical problem with that postulation.
Go on then.
One sense, I agree, but as soon as you say, well, if we accept it, that you're actually postulating a better situation than you have at the moment, where you're not accepting it as it is.
No, but I'm using accepting there in the sense of...
But does that mean that we're not accepting it as it is at the moment? And therefore we could be in a better situation?
Absolutely, and why?
So therefore you are saying that there is a better situation.
No, well, okay, yes, I know.
I'm just kind of looking at the paradox contained within that.
The best philosophical, as you know, so the best philosophical issues contain inherently a paradox. It's like oneness and separation, isn't it? But no, I mean, it's this concept of let it be.
Yeah.
Let it be. Beatles song, whisper words of wisdom, let it be. I mean, I think that's profound, and that's what I'm saying or trying to say. And maybe perfect does imply, I think, a judgment. Perfect does imply maybe something utopic, something better than as exists already, because people will tend to say, well, this is not perfect. We don't live in a perfect world. Well, no, you don't live in a perfect world because you judge it as not being perfect. But as against what, you don't know. Only what you've been told. And how would you know a perfect world anyway? It's like heaven, isn't it? How would you know that you're in heaven? Well, okay. And you would
someone
comes along and sells you a ticket.
We'd only judge the perfect world from our own, how it satisfies us.
Well, exactly. So how would you see a let it be world? Could you see that? Could you foresee it?
Again, this comes back to different levels of kind of spiritual steps. One of the Puranas describes that there are three you can look at it as three stages. You've what they call the Kanishta stage, the Madhyama, and the Uttama. The Uttama stage of vision is that there really is nothing to change, nothing needs adjustment. Everything is as it is.
Yeah.
And they just see everything perfect. They may see all life as the individual souls maybe at different stages, but ultimately it's all just on its unfolding, and everything is.
There's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad.
There's nothing. Well, there's nothing to worry about because it's all actually unfolding quite happily, with or without me, and it's neither good or bad for me. It's all perfect. So that's the Uttama stage, which is considered a very elevated status.
Right.
But it's also considered fairly useless for helping and sort of being part of the world in which you are working alongside others. It's a vision, and that's got its purpose in one sense. But often what they say is that you've got the Kanishta stage where you're really just completely bewildered by the way everything works, and you just see it as a struggle.
So what's the Kanishta stage again?
The Kanishta is the stage, well, basically it's the stage where you're just completely overwhelmed by the way the world works.
Okay.
You just feel that it's all, it's a struggle, and I'm fighting against this, and I'm trying to kind of secure this, and it's just hard struggle for existence.
Right, okay.
And I'm fighting the world, and, trying to get on with others, and then, there's, quarrels, and, it's just where you're completely engaged with the duality of the world.
Okay.
And then there's the Madhyama stage where you kind of realize, wait a minute, that's hard. I don't actually have to do that. There is another way of engaging with the world, which is, the way of to be in it, but not of it.
Yes.
Not give yourself over to it, but at the same time you're part of it.
Yes.
And therefore you're borrowing on the vision of the Uttama, but you're also engaging and helping to reduce the struggle of the Kanishta. And in that way, you're actually finding your own balance. And because it's reckoned that most of us will be in this stage, if we're Uttama Adhikari, if we're that sort of enlightened soul, fine, there's nothing to worry about. But I'm not. But at the same time, I'm hoping that I can live a life that isn't just pure struggle, and where I can actually situate myself borrowing on that spiritual vision, but at the same time engaging in a way that allows me to be satisfied, at least, and a lot of the time that does mean accepting things that are. But sometimes when there is a little opportunity for me to show a little kindness, to do a service to others, to help maybe influence something, I can offer that. Yeah. Whereas the ultimate thing was, why you bothered? Why, what's the motivation for trying to get involved or even influence or help someone? What's the point? You see? So generally, the kind-hearted Uttamanas are the ones who act, the saints who come into the world and act in the Majjhima stage, where they're engaging with the world and actually making it a nicer place.
Right.
But utilising the vision
Because the thing, of course, around struggle is that we struggle with struggle.
Yeah, and we can
ultimately,
that we can make that our kind of raison d'être. Where we just love the struggle, and we love to struggle with the struggle.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
so that goes back to let it be. If you could let struggle be, recognize it as struggle if need be, even though struggle is just another label, isn't it, that we put on things, and some people will say, well, I struggle with this, I struggle with that. Other people say, that's not a struggle. In fact, one man's struggle is another man's, a lot of fun or whatever, enjoyment. Struggle, of course, not necessarily the right word, but there is that element.
Or at least it could be another person's acceptance.
So again, to let it be, and I mean, I don't see any real reason other than, the sort of the ego need, if you like, to what you were saying earlier in this sense, this sort of sense of superiority or inferiority, this sort of superiority complex, quote unquote, to be better than the next guy, that you wouldn't, live in a let it be world. It doesn't matter. I don't know, how can I express this? It's almost as if you don't even look at yourself. You think whatever is working for me, whatever's happening to me is not even working. Whatever is happening to me, whatever I'm creating in the world is fine. And whatever you're creating in the world is fine. And I'm not judging you, I'm not saying I want what you've got or vice versa. I'm saying, fine, let it be, The only struggle comes when I think to myself, I have to be as good as you, or, I have to aspire to your, your material wealth or whatever it might be. I mean, I'm giving just examples, but those are the sort of things, aren't they?
If we're talking about let it be in terms of aspiration and personal, selfish and ambition,
right, then
fine. But there's also aspects of...
When you say fine, you mean...
no problem. It's that's where the let it be thing works.
Right, okay.
And I think that's where it's very extremely valid when it applies to us, amending and controlling our own kind of unbridled ambitions.
Yeah.
We need to kind of let that go. We need to not be worried that someone else seems to be better off or is more fortunate, because those things do agitate us and will make us behave erratically and probably cause trouble to others. The more complex question for the let it be issue is when something is happening to someone else.
Give an example.
Well, if you're walking along the riverbank, you see someone has fallen in and struggling, let it be. Or do you think, no, I can swim, and I'm not doing this for myself, but I'm being called to offer a little help and kindness to this person, and from my heart, actually, a soft-hearted person, hopefully someone who has controlled their own desires and ambitions to a degree, hopefully their heart becomes soft from that. Because sometimes the difficulty with those who are trying to control their passions is they have to harden themselves to the world. And that's why you read about many monks and things, they shut themselves away and, they don't want the evils of the world to get them. And therefore their heart becomes cold because they can't open up to anything in case it unleashes their kind of lust. So that's not helpful. But if it is truly a let it be kind of attitude where one is becoming self-satisfied and serene within, then I think the heart becomes very soft. So when you actually do see someone in need or hurting, that you'll want to extend yourself as you can. Sometimes it's this question, isn't it? Allow me, to change the things I can, and to be able to tolerate the things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. I think that's a very crucial skill for the person in this madhyama, this middle stage of their development.